All right, so ladies and gents, we talked about demand, we've talked about supply, we've shown a supply and demand curve in equilibrium, and most of the time in these scenarios, you're going to see either the demand curve or the supply curve shift. However, it is possible that both are going to shift. It's because that is possible. It doesn't happen all that often, but it's possible. I want to go ahead and show you what happens there. So what we have here is we have a supply and demand curve in equilibrium. You can see we have a downward sloping demand curve, we have an upward sloping supply curve, price is on our y-axis, quantity is on our x-axis, and we have an equilibrium price as well as an equilibrium quantity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what happens if we have an increase in demand and an increase in supply. So when we increase demand here, you can see that quantity is going to be going up. If we increase supply, we can see quantity is going up. So we're looking at our x-axis here. So if we have an increase in demand and an increase in supply, we know that quantity, equilibrium quantity, is going to be going up. Now this is a little different if we're looking at price. So we're looking at our y-axis here. We're going to increase demand, and that's going to push up price. But if we increase supply, that's going to decrease price. And if supply increases enough, you're actually going to see a fall in price. So because price, the equilibrium price will vary depending upon the magnitude of the shift, price is said to, equilibrium price is said to be indeterminate because it is based upon the magnitude of the shifts. Demand is going to push it up. An increase in demand is going to push it up. But an increase in supply is going to push it down. So if the supply increases more than the demand increases, you can actually see a fall in the price level. You don't know the magnitude of the shifts. Therefore, price is going to be indeterminate. Okay, so price is indeterminate. And then equilibrium quantity is going to be going up. All right, so let's look at another scenario here. Let's see what happens if we have an increase in demand and an increase in supply. So let's look at price. So we increase demand, you can see that price is going up. If we decrease supply, we can see price is going up. So we know that equilibrium price is going to be going up in that scenario. Now, let's look at quantity. We increase demand, quantity goes up. Decrease supply, quantity goes down. And if it goes, supply decreases enough, we can actually have a fall in quantity. So equilibrium quantity is going to be based upon the magnitude of the shifts in supply and demand. We don't know the magnitude of those shifts. Therefore, quantity is indeterminate. So price is going to be going up for sure. Quantity is going to be considered indeterminate. So the biggest difference between the scenarios we looked at originally and these scenarios with two shifts is that price or quantity can be indeterminate. All right, so let's move on here and look at the assessment. And these are going to be very similar to the original problems we did where we're only shifting supply or demand. So for number one, we're going to graph what happens to the market for Nike shoes after a major advertising campaign. So just like the scenarios we originally did, you're going to go ahead and give me a supply and demand graph in equilibrium. You're going to go ahead and tell me the market. You're going to tell me the determinant. Then you're going to go ahead and shift either supply or demand. And then tell me what happens to the equilibrium price and quantity of Nike shoes. Those are what I'm looking for full credit. So 2, graph what happens to the market for computers if Hewlett-Packard decides to stop producing them. So once again, give me a supply and demand graph in equilibrium. tell me the market, tell me the determinant, shift either supply or demand, tell me what happens to equilibrium price or quantity of computers there. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that. And then you can go ahead and do the summary. So in a paragraph, describe what you learned today. So complete those assessments, complete the summary. I will check this tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.